everybody, Jesse Fresco, Hardcore Bloodshot here at the Strange Manor this week, and we're talking about my 3 picks of the week. First up, we've got Farmhand. This is written, created, and artwork by Rob Guillory. And if you don't know who Rob Guillory is, he's the artist on the book called Chew with John Layman. That book was kind of a more over-the-top kind of crime story, but it was more of a comedy than anything else. It's basically, the whole series was kind of a giant joke. It was a giant inside joke about a guy that could taste certain things and would see the past moments of that particular object he would taste, except for beets. He could eat beets and it wouldn't do anything to him. This book is made just with Rob Guillory. Essentially what happens is that there's a guy that somehow finds a seed that plants a tree that gives him the knowledge to grow human body parts on plants. It's weird. Just go with it. The idea is it's more kind of a little bit more straight in terms of its writing. I would say that's kind of a downer with this book, is that it's not as funny. It's not, I mean, maybe it's probably not a good idea to compare it to Chew, but it's kind of inevitable because it has the exact same look as Chew. Basically, the father who created this tree and has now running this massive company that's creating human body parts for transplants, get it, transplant. Basically, his son returns to town with his family, and there's this weird conspiracy going on from competing companies, and there's this kind of conspiracy aspect to it. It's only 2 issues in, so it's hard to judge it at this point. But the writing is strong, the artwork is strong, but it's not really as funny or as engaging. I feel like it's a little bit messy with its plotting. But the best part about it is Rob Guillory's artwork, is that it's always solid, it's always on point. There's also always little in-jokes you can find, like little things hidden on notepads in the background and stuff, little in-jokes. So it's a lot of fun. It's enjoyable. It's only 2 issues in. You can catch up pretty quick, so definitely recommend this one. It's not as good as Chew. I think Chew was a much stronger book, but this is only 2 issues in, so we can't really judge it, exactly at this point. Still recommended. Give it a chance. Next one after that, Dark Souls: The Age of Fire. Now, I typically don't recommend comics based on video games because most of them are pretty terrible. I mean, if you just go look at those Gears of War books, they're just passable at best. This is the one exception. I am a huge Dark Souls fan. It's probably my absolute favorite video game. And the best part about this book isn't really the writing. The writing is good. It's acceptable. It's engaging enough. But the best part about this is the artwork. The art is fantastic. There's been many Dark Souls books at this point. This art is beautiful. It's like this kind of like airbrush look to it, like beautiful coloring schemes. It really just jumps out of the page at you. It's beautiful to look at. The story of the Age of Fire is that it's actually dealing with the backstory to some of the locations from the games, the towns of Izalith and Ulasil and Anor Londo, as well as doing some more background on Seath the Scaleless and the Knight Artorias. It's dealing with the backstory of also the Silver Knights and the Black Knights that protect Anor Londo. And it's almost like the lead up to the moments of the very first game. This is almost like the true official prequel. All the Dark Souls books kind of take place in sort of a muddy time frame. This is straight up a prequel to the first Dark Souls game. So if you want to see what happened beforehand, the fall of Anor Londo, the fall of the kingdom, this is the book to check out. Beautiful artwork. Not really as emotionally and satisfying as I would like it to be, but the artwork makes up for it. This is definitely an art book. It's the kind of artwork you'd love to have on your wall. It's beautiful to look at, great work. Although I will say, if you're going to check this out, get them very quickly because Titan is a very small company and they do very, very limited print runs. They run out very quickly and they go out of print very fast. So if you're going to read this, definitely check it out very quickly. But the trades do come out only a month after the final issue and they only do 4-issue runs. So you can get this pretty quickly or just wait for a trade. I recommend it. This is definitely a good one to get. And lastly, because it's a slow week for me, I'm not huge into the superhero stuff, and so therefore I'm going to pick a book that came out that finished up recently about a couple weeks ago, Infidel. This is the new horror book by Pornsak Pichote. I think that's how you pronounce his name. I believe he is an Indian author. And this is a horror book from Image. Pornsak worked on a book, my absolute favorite comic book called Unknown Soldier, written by Joshua Dysart, illustrated by Alberto Ponicelli. That book was edited by him, and he was working at Vertigo at the time. So he knows all about like pacing and structure and how to get the best artists on the best books. This is definitely one of the best things I've read in a while. It is a true horror book. Essentially, the story is about the aftermath of a bombing in New York City, and the main character is Muslim and is living in the same building. And there's this constant sense of paranoia that she's facing. She's not sleeping very well, and she's starting to hallucinate, and she's seeing these things, these weird specters and spirits. It's implied she might have mental problems, but it's also implied that these are the spirits of the people that were killed in the bombing. So it's almost like an analysis of Muslim culture, about the paranoia of Muslim culture. And I believe the Pornsak is actually also Muslim, so this is something that is reflective of his own upbringing and lifestyle. It's also got some brilliant coloring work by Jose Villarrubia, who's a friend of mine, who is also a teacher at MICA in Baltimore. I've known him for years and years. Great guy, beautiful artwork, beautiful coloring work. It really has a haunting vibe to it. It reminds me a little bit of the Alan Moore Swamp Thing run from the 1980s, where it's just the way the colors mesh together. It just has this weird, unsettling feeling to it. There's this tension on every page. You really feel it. It's almost kind of sickening at times, where it can be a little bit much to take in. The way that the environments blend in with the spirits in the background. It's almost like the building itself is attacking the main character. It's very, very creepy. It has finished up. It was only 5 issues long, so you can pick these up pretty quickly. I believe it did go into another print run, so you can get these issues pretty quickly. A trade should be out pretty soon. And also, NPR recently voted this as one of the best books of the year. So if NPR says it's good, you don't even need my recommendation anymore. So definitely check this out. That's my 3 books of the week: Farmhand, Dark Souls, The Age of Fire, and Infidel.